Okay, so today I'm going to talk about this card design. I'm not going to do the card from start to finish, but I am going to show you how the focal piece is made. Lovely as a tree stamp set, and I'm going to use this image here. So I'm going to take out the stamp, tell you a little bit about the inks that I'm using. To introduce the new ink colors, Stampin' Up! Is offering a Stampin' Right collection set. So this includes all the colors of the new colors for this year in one marker set. And so that's really great if you want all the colors, but maybe you can't afford to buy them all as separate ink pads. You can go ahead and get them this way, and then you'll have all the colors to play with. I'm going to use several of the colors from this pack. I'm going to use the Peach Parfait, the Pear Pizzazz, the Poppy Parade. So in some cases I've seen this card actually come out really nicely also, me playing around in my craft room of course, with the other colors, but I'm just going to focus on those three today. And I'm going to use a piece of watercolor paper. So the watercolor paper is going to give me a nice effect on these colors, kind of blend them together. You don't want to use your classic pads for this, and the reason being is that the way we're mixing these colors, you could contaminate one pad over another. For instance, you wouldn't want to put your Peach Parfait in such a way that it would get into your Poppy Parade and vice versa. I have one more color I want to use, and that is the chocolate chip. Okay, so I'm going to use the chocolate chip as my base color along the bottom of this stamp and going up the trunks. So actually what this technique is really like bringing coloring your stamps with your marker plus a watercolor effect. So I'm actually doing two techniques in one here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the Poppy Parade and bring this around some portions of each tree. And I am not worried that maybe the Poppy Parade marker touches the chocolate chip. Not half as worried as I would be if I was dealing with pads, you know, so that's why we're not using the ink pads. I'm going to put on a little Poppy Parade, so like in some gentle areas here. And one thing about this technique that's kind of interesting and fun is that you're never going to get two cards identical. That's just not going to happen. It's just too random. So be happy with the diversity of what you get. Do it several times and you'll probably end up with one that you love the most, and maybe that's the card that you make for your loved one. So in this case I'm just bringing some of this Pear Pizzazz onto the outside. And I guess the most important part of this is that you do get all the edges of your stamp, because that's your outline. And so if you didn't get all of the stamp, at least you'd want to make sure you got every edge of every tree so that your outline is clear. So now that I've done that and I've got that kind of everywhere, you can see, if you look at the stamp, you can actually see where the different colors are. So you can tweak before you stamp. So I'm going to put a little bit more Poppy Parade and a little bit more of the Peach Parfait. And that's just because I like those brighter fall colors the most. Since the chocolate chip was the first I'll put on, I might go ahead and darken my trunks last. And here's the thing I'm going to do. I'm going to use a water mister, and I'm going to put an extremely light mist of water over this. So just a small mist of water is enough. And then I'm going to put my watercolor paper down, and I'm going to stamp this image down towards the lower end of it. Now, because I'm stamping on textured paper, I like to sit a little longer than I normally would. And that's because the paper is porous, and so I'm giving it time to collect that ink. And when I lift up, I have this beautiful fall image. And I really love how this turns out. No matter how I color it, it seems to turn out really well. We did do this in the class without the water. So we ended up doing it without water because unfortunately I had forgotten the mister. So it comes out just as beautiful without the water. Just to understand that. And one last thing I like to do is I like to take a glitter pen and just kind of grab a few of the branches, maybe a few of the leaves. And you'll see when I get done with this, well, you might have noticed with the original card that I showed you, that this little kind of almost like a dab of glitter is going to make this card sparkle when the light hits it in such a way that people will just stare at this technique for a while because they're trying to basically figure it out, and because it's just so appealing to the eye. So if I kind of move this under the camera, you can see how that glitter kind of grabs the light. So you can put more or less depending on how much you like. One of my customers, her name is Connie. Connie and Stacy, both of them, learned that they could take the fine side of the marker and add color where they wanted more. So like Stacy didn't have enough green and Connie didn't have enough of whatever color she wanted, and they both sat there with the fine side of the marker and added some more color. So don't hesitate to do that. I thought that was really smart of them. And then all I did to finish the card was I mounted it on a standard card size 5.5 by 4.25 peach parfait base, and then I triple mounted the focal point. So I mounted it on pear with peach sandwiched between the two layers of pear pizzazz, and then I just put a little twine and a little hello tag, and it's a lovely card. So just wanted to show you that today. Thank you for coming.